I just got back from a week-long camping trip where I thought the AYN Thor would be my go-to device. Although this was true for the flights, I actually used the TrimUI Brick Hammer for most of the actual camping. I brought it in my pockets for walks and hikes, played it on the dock at sunrise, and used it at the campsite and right before bed. It's sleek, premium, and easy to pick up and play. In this video, I'm going to talk about why this is such a good travel companion, in addition to a larger device like the AYN Thor. The TrimUI Brick Hammer is a newer version of the TrimUI Brick with many of the same features, but boasting a metal chassis. They have beautiful 3.2-inch IPS displays that are 1024 by 768. The hammer is around 195 grams, while the brick is around 160 grams. They're each extremely pocketable, get 5 to 6 hours battery life, and run everything from PS1 and below. I really love using NextUI on the TrimUI Hammer. It adds a lot of functionality and features to MinUI, which is a simple operating system that I enjoy because it lets you focus on games. I like to load up 20 or 30 games per system and keep it simple. NextUI builds on that with things like the Pack Store, which allows you through Wi-Fi to access additional content that the community has made. For example, an artwork scraper, appearances, alternate boot logos, cheat downloaders, game trackers, LED settings, and even Portmaster. The artwork scraper is a really cool one. It gives you an emulation station type interface where your box art or screenshots are shown next to titles in your library. There's also a game switcher function which lets you switch between games with save state previews, so it's really easy to bounce back and forth. And then there's the deep sleep function, which you'll hear me talk about when I start the camping story. The menus are really easy to use, and the whole experience reinforces the pick up and play aspect that I'm looking for. So why was the hammer the device that I used throughout my camping trip? First of all is size and portability. It fits right in your pocket. With NextUI, you have a deep sleep function where your game will create a save state, shut off, and only drain a few percentage of battery per day, which for camping in a place that didn't have electricity was awesome. You can turn the game on, the wake function happens, and you're jumping right back into your game. There's seamless transition in NextUI between your recently played games, and it even has that game switch feature that I mentioned. The hammer is small, but it feels premium. The metal chassis really makes this feel elevated, especially compared to the original TrimUI Brick. It's not the most ergonomic handheld in the world, but for 20 or 30-minute sessions, it was more than comfortable. And because it's so small, I didn't feel like it was too distracting to play in front of my family, whereas something like the Thor would have been more of a concerted play session. The hammer felt more casual, much more pick up and play. So is the hammer something that I would want to use as my dedicated handheld? Probably not. The screen is a little bit on the smaller side at 3.5 inches, but it makes up for that in how sharp it is. The image looks beautiful and it gets really bright, which was critical for playing outdoors. I was playing on the dock under quite a bit of direct sunlight and had no issues. I found myself carrying the device in my pocket and using it during lulls throughout the day. I didn't have to worry about the battery life, and it wasn't an ordeal to turn on for short bursts. I played it in bed, and that wasn't an issue either because its size means you can play it in pretty much any position. I focused my entire time on Legend of Zelda on the NES, which I've never played before despite loving the Zelda franchise. The green of the hammer was especially fitting for Zelda. The fact that I was playing this NES classic on such a sleek device was a real joy, and I think my dad was even impressed. I logged about 7 hours over my week-long trip. As I mentioned, I didn't solely use the hammer on my trip. I also used the AYN Thor at the airport and on the plane. It's got beautiful OLED dual screen displays, and it's a compact clamshell. It's a joy for emulation, everything all the way up to Nintendo Switch. And with recently increased compatibility of Windows emulation on Android, it's great for PC emulation. In my last video, I showed how Game Native can play Dark Souls 2 and Monster Hunter World on the AYN Thor Pro. On this trip, I played Metroid Samus Returns on the Nintendo 3DS. This was the first time I had played the game, and it was a real joy. It easily kept me occupied for a couple hours straight, and it was really fun to have a larger device to kind of get absorbed in for a longer session. And while I certainly enjoyed the overall experience of the Thor much more, and while it's still very portable, There's just something charming about the portability, design, and feel of the TrimUI Brick Hammer. Over the course of my week-long camping trip, I realized that the TrimUI Brick Hammer isn't a replacement for my larger Android devices, but it is a really awesome companion. If you already have a larger handheld and want something pocketable for travel, commuting, or more casual pick up and play, I think the Hammer is really awesome. NextUI really elevates the experience, taking the device from a basic entry-level retro handheld into something that feels polished and full-featured. I also really like the green of this model. Some of the other colorways like black and the silver are also really cool, but this just feels really fun and premium at the same time. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. I'm looking forward to making a 6-month AYN Thor impressions as one of my next videos. Hope you guys have a great day.